Hello everybody, today we're going to be learning about modules in Python. In essence, we can think of a module as a library of code that contains functions which we can include in the application that we are programming. To understand how modules work, we're going to start by coding our very own first module. So let us go ahead and open up the file tree and create a new Python file which we're going to call my first module. And then we're going to hit OK. And when you're making your very first module, so if you're following this tutorial step by step, you're going to have to make sure that the main file and the module are both in the same directory. As you can see down here in the file tree, but I can also open it up in the Explorer, and you'll see that both of the files which I've created are in the same directory. Yeah? Alright, so now that we have our very first module, let's fill it with some content. We're going to create a module that contains a function which takes two integers as parameters and prints the sum. So we're going to say we have a function, so we first need to define the function. We're going to say define, we're going to call the function addition, and we are going to give it two parameters, and then it is going to first calculate the sum of the two parameters, so a plus b, and after it has calculated the sum, it is going to print out the sum is, and then it is going to also print the sum. Alright, so this is our very first function within the first module we've created. Let us now see how we can use the addition function, which is in this module we've just created, from the main file in which we are coding the application. So to use the addition function, we first need to import the module which contains the function using the keyword import. So let's go over to our main file and import the module, my first module. And now we can move on to call the function. However, when we're making the function call, we need to let Python know that the function we're using is in the module which we've just created. We do this by adding the my module, my first module, first module, and then adding a dot, and then we can proceed to call the function like we usually do by writing in the name of the function addition and passing in the parameter values. Let's say we want to add together 1 and 2. So let's go ahead and run this, and you'll see that it has gone on to print the following: the sum is 3, which is exactly what we wanted the function to do. As you see here in the module, we have the print, the sum is, and then the sum of the two arguments, and then that's exactly what we see in the console output. Let us now assume that the module which we've created is in a different directory. So if we go ahead and look at the directory where we have our main file and the first module which we've created, we're going to go ahead and now make a new directory and call it modules, and in this modules directory we're going to include the very first module which we've created. You'll see I'm just going to go ahead and drag and drop. That should work. Yep. Alright, now we want to carry on by calling the function again. But now if I go ahead and run the program again, you'll see that there's going to be an error. Now the reason why this error comes up is because Python can't find the addition function anymore once we've put it into a new directory. So this is where the from keyword comes in. You'll see that if I open the file structure again, we have the file modules, and that is where our first module is. So we need to point Python to the file modules. Let's go ahead and do that by writing import, from modules, import from modules, import my first module. Alright, so now we've pointed Python to the right directory by including from modules, and if we go ahead and run this again, it should find the function in the my first module module, and it does because the console output is exactly as the one that we've had before. So make sure that when you're changing the directory of a module, you point Python towards the module by including the from statement. When you first installed Python, some modules are available right out of the box. They're built into Python. One example of such a module is a module which is called random. It has a lot of different functions, and one of them allows us to create a random number. So let's go ahead and access one of those built-in modules. We are going to need an import statement, and we are going to import the module called random, and then we want to access random, and in the random module we want to call a function called randint, which creates a random integer, and it takes as an argument a range, so the range within which the random number should be generated. We're going to give it a range from 0 to 55. And we, of course, want to print the result to make it visible. Alright, so now we are going to run this code, and you'll see in the console it has given the value 3, which is in fact the random generated number. So we can now run this a couple of times, and you'll see every time I run it, down here, the number is going to be random. Another example of a module that is available straight out of the box is a module called datetime. And similar to the random module, it has a whole lot of different functions, and one of them allows you to output the date in a format with hyphens. So we're going to import datetime, and from there we are going to access a function called date, and then it takes 3 arguments, which is the year, the the month, and the day. And of course, again, we want to print this. And you'll see that when I go ahead and run this, it has output the date with hyphens, which is what this function does. So as you can see, we have now accessed modules that were built into Python. However, it's also possible to access modules which are created from other people. And in order to access these modules, you first need to install them by using a function called pip. Now, I'm not going to go into using pip in this tutorial. I will in one of the next tutorials. But just bear in mind that not every module which you see being used elsewhere is directly available. Because if Python were to put all the modules into the version which you download, Python would become far too large. That's why they only include the modules which are really used most widely, and the more specific modules are the ones that you need to install on top of Python yourself whenever you need them. Alright, so that's going to sum it up for this tutorial. If you learned something new, and if it helped you out, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see each other in the next video.